At ease, it's your boy Soul Immortal. I want to thank y'all for joining us for episode 3 of God Talk. As you come in, hit that like button. You know, one thing that's just been on my mind heavy, right? Is it baffles me how a lot of people still don't understand that we live in a new world. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand that the way life was in 2019 and 2018 and before that, like those days are long gone, right? It blows my mind, right? No, I don't know what took place, but something, in 2020, something heavy came along and just changed everything. In other words, people are manifesting things a lot quicker. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing people going from never being heard of to blowing up, but at the same time, you're seeing people fall off just as quick. It's just the air is just so heavy. You know what I mean? I know in the book The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Wattles, he wrote this way back in 1903 or prior to that. And he was saying, there's this thinking stuff in the atmosphere. He said, wherever you see something present, in other words, wherever there's not something present, there's this thinking stuff there where we can use that energy to create, right? And it just seems like this thinking stuff has just gotten heavier. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I'm understanding is we still don't understand that what we put out is what we're going to get back. You know what I'm saying? I can remember when my grandmother used to plant a garden, man, way back in the days. She would plant some tomato seeds, and she would expect to get tomatoes back, right? She would plant some turnip greens, and she would expect to get some turnip greens back, right? At no point in time did she plant, watermelon seeds, but expect to get some black eyed peas back, right? So if we understand that this is the law of the world, then why is it that we expect to get good things out of this life, but we continue to plant seeds of death? Let's talk about it.
First of all, the greatest thing on the planet is the knowledge of self, and basically the knowledge of the universe. For the mere fact that you are even interested in this or remotely interested in this at this particular time when shit is going on crazy out here, it means that you are the special evolved beings. Stop thinking like a human. You got to start thinking as a God. G-O-D, generator, operator, and destroyer. Is it not written in your law that ye are God? John chapter 10, verse 34, 35. But what is the whole of is that the actual gods do not realize they're God.
Brother Mig, I appreciate that super chat. Get at ease, brother. At ease. I appreciate you, so you are mentoring me and us youngins from a distance. Booking a session soon. I look forward to chopping it up with you, brother. I look forward to it. So there was a young lady, right? A young lady, and I heard this article yesterday. I'm not sure if I saw it on YouTube or where I saw it, but a young lady named Jessica Bouvet, right? I believe she was up in the New York area. And the lady was on a podcast, and I don't know the details of what she was talking about during the podcast, but during the podcast, she was doing a little drinking, right? She was doing a little smoking of the Mary Jane, you know what I'm saying? And I guess she just got a little loose with the mouth, right? So at the end of the podcast, she made, in my opinion, what was a life-altering statement.
Oh, you think? Oh, there's no unfolded right there.
I will see you guys next Monday at 6:30 p.m. back here on Face of Reality Radio on the Instagram and on the Facebook. And until then, the police.
Now, I've said it a million times, right? I said it so many times in 2020 that I got tired of hearing myself say it. And I got it from James Allen when James said, man does not become what he wants. Like man attracts what he is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, and we just talked about this yesterday. We just talked about how the people in your circle have an influence, and you got to be careful. And I was listening to this video, and I could hear the brother in the background. So she was amongst peers, and she was still in this energy of F the police, right? We talked about the idle mind, and I can easily say that this sister is in an idle place because on video, she was in a OG triple OG energy. But when you saw some of her in the later interviews when she was getting arrested, she was in tears and she was in this. So she's showing two different polar opposite ends. So she has to be in this idle mind. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, I don't know why the sister did this, but she has no idea that the energy that we're in, she has no idea that the things we put out are what we're going to get back. And I'm telling you, the majority of people, in my opinion, are still unaware of that. We simply don't know who we are. I got this from the book of, this came out of the same book, As a Man Think. It says, what we are was designed and built by our own thoughts. If we nurture ignorance, pain will soon follow. If our thoughts are healthy, joy will follow us as sure as our shadows. Now, in my opinion, I know we're using Miss Jessica Bouvet as an example, but to be honest, brothers, Jessica Bouvet only represents, a large majority of people. She represents, a much larger problem. You know what I'm saying? Think about the music we listen to on a regular basis, man. And I say we because I'm just as guilty. Look at the words we're speaking in the music, right? Now just pause for a sec. How many times have you heard, a Billy Ray Cyrus or somebody talking about, unloading a 100-round clip on one of his brothers, right? How many times have you heard a Garth Brooks talking about pulling a kick dough on one of his colleagues? You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, when we look at like some of our entertainers that are putting out certain messages, for some reason, when we see some of the people, getting shot up in clubs, for some reason, when we see people getting shot up after performances, when we see brothers, people running up in people's crib and killing entertainers, for some reason, we don't tie the two together. For some reason, we don't say, this person has been speaking a certain energy, then we have to understand, like, that's what's going to come in return. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about us that makes that so hard to understand. You know what I'm saying? At some point, we're going to have to understand that whatever seeds we plant, in other words, whatever we're putting out in this world, like that's exactly what we're going to get in return. I'm going to be leaving a link down here for anybody who wants to come in and chat, come in and speak on the issue. Feel free. What's that? Post that. Free says, what's up, soul? What's up, Free? Sending love. I appreciate it. Afu. Kirk Salone. Much love. Appreciate that. More than 6318. April says, hey. Alfredo Grandis. Out of damn. But for some reason, I don't know why we can't get that in our minds, right? And see, the thing is this. The thing is, we're quick to point the finger. You know what I'm saying? You let somebody get shot on TV, shot on, come on the news, or somebody got shot by a cop and all this stuff. Man, before we even know the details, we raising 32 types of hell, right? 32 types of hell. But for some reason, we're not adding it up. For some reason, we're not doing the math. We're not saying, you know what, as a collective, we're putting a certain energy out. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm gonna tell you this. Every single thing that happens to a people is created by a people. It's law. There's no way around it, right? And I remember this. I remember Wayne, and I talked about this on the video maybe a year or so ago. I remember Wayne said, when he was asked about the whole, BLM and crime and police, they said, Wayne, well, what do you think about all this? Cops, doing all these things and people. Wayne was like, I'm in the dark. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was like, oh, Wayne is tripping. Wayne is selling out. And Wayne was saying, no, that's just not the world I've created. Like that's not my world. Like I see it happening, but that world doesn't pertain to me. And since it doesn't pertain to me, it doesn't exist in my world. I understood what he was talking about. I understood. And then there's another sister I heard the other day. Now I don't know her well. I know she's on Fox. Her name may be Candace Owens, maybe. I know I recently saw her on the Roommates podcast. I think her name is Candace Owens. Maybe I'm wrong, but y'all know the sister I'm talking about. And they were asking her about a lot of like violence and things happening. And I can tell this sister is very controversial. She's on the fence. And I don't know much about her, but she said this. She said, when I see people, going through all these things and this, she said, that doesn't pertain to me because that's not my world. And I'm not gonna lie, for the first time I sit back and I said, you know what? I kind of feel what she's saying, but because it's not because I'm fully aware, man, that the world that we have around us is what we created. But as a whole, why don't we understand that the messages we're putting out is what we're creating, right? This is right here. Came out of the same book, James Allen. James says, good thoughts and actions can never produce bad results, and bad thoughts can never produce good. James Allen, as a man thinker. The thing is this: we receive cheat codes all day. I've spoken so many cheat codes from certain books, man. You got Outwitting the Devil. You got As a Man Thinketh. You got a million books I speak of. There are cheat codes all around us. But for some reason, we look at this. Think about this. Good thoughts and actions can never produce bad results. And bad thoughts can never produce good. James Allen. It goes back to what I said about my grandmother a while ago. My grandmother never planted watermelon seeds and expected to get black eyed peas back. She never planted tomatoes and expected to see some mustard greens come out of the ground. Because she understood, and what most people understand on a physical level, we understand that whatever we put out is coming back. You know what I'm saying? We understand it, but when it comes to the spiritual side, when it comes to the underlying, the underbelly of the way this world works, we think that we can just do all this reckless stuff and think that we're going to receive blessings like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I say I'm talking about us, because when it comes to like the music we put out, I'm just as guilty. I'm just as guilty as riding around with my son, pumping some chains, pumping some Uzi Vert or whoever's on the radio. You know what I'm saying? Knowing in my mind that I'm planting seeds. So I say we. Marcus Davis says a man's mind can be likened to a garden. He can let it run wild with weeds or cultivate it to his advantage. Exactly. And that goes back to the quote I had the other day, man, talking about in Think and Grow Rich. When it talked about the idle mind, it was like, you know what? The mind can't stay idle. Like, it's going to do something. Like the brother said, either you're going to have a nice garden or you're going to have weeds. And if you don't tend to it, the weeds just going to take over. You know what I'm saying? Fatal J says, live from Nacogdoches, Texas. Man, Nacogdoches is almost like my second or third home. That's where my family lives, man. Shout out to Nacogdoches 903. Strong on. Brother Luke, what's up, my brother? That's my brother, man. April says, you're live. Thank you for the love. Appreciate it, sister. Shout out to brother, the one Adonis, $10 super chat. Be at ease, brother. Brother Adonis says, much love, my brother. Been listening to your 2 videos, Power of Being and Act as If. It's changed how I move and react completely. I am focused on is my energy and my world. Appreciate that, brother. God talk. But when are we gonna understand that? I mean, think about this, and I'll use myself for an example because sometimes I can feel my vibration going up and my vibration is going down, right? Sometimes I can be in a mode where I'm listening to certain musics, for several days at a time, nonstop. I'm eating certain foods. I'm communicating with certain people that are low vibrational, and then maybe a week later, I'll just feel myself out of socket. I'll feel myself out of myself. You know what I'm saying? And then it'll hit me. I'll say, you know what? I have to look back and I say, man, look at the things I've been doing. Look at the people I've been entertaining, right? And I say, you know what? It's because I did that. It's because I did these certain things. But why is it that we can do certain things in life on a regular basis, but we think it's not our fault when we get the certain results we get? For this sister to get online and say, I don't know what she said all before that, but to get online and say, you know what, F the police. My bad. Let me pause for a second because I forgot to tell y'all the second end of the story. My bad. So let me rewind for a second. So the girl gets off the internet, right? She gets off the podcast. She shuts down, right? And at some point in time, she leaves the studio. She gets in her vehicle, still high off the Mary Jane. She gets in her vehicle, still loose off the Hennessy or whatever she was taking shots of, right? And she's headed home through the streets of New York, and she kills a police officer. A young police officer was out doing his job, directing traffic from either some construction or another incident. And young Jessica Bouvet just plows over this police officer. And I believe she injured a few more people in the process trying to get away, right? And the thing is, what would we expect? What would she expect? Like, surely goodness and mercy, we know that if we put a certain energy out over and over every day, that we have to get a certain result in some time. At some point, she shouldn't be surprised. If I get on stage every day, 365 days a year, and someone, and I'm talking about emptying clips, I'm talking about pulling kick doors, I'm talking about slapping baby mamas, I'm talking about all this stuff. And if I'm in a concert and I'm going out to the car and all of a sudden people start shooting up my van, why am I acting surprised? Why am I acting surprised on that? Brother Adonis, what's going on, brother?
Yo, at ease. Can you hear me?
At ease, brother. Good to see you, man. We haven't talked in a minute. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, man. I gotta hit you up for a chat, but I had to get in the broadcast, bro. What you're saying is one.
Yeah. Most definitely speak your mind, brother.
Yeah, dude. So this actually, I came to this realization. I read As a Man Thinketh like years ago, but I didn't know how close it pertains to your life. So for me, the job that I'm in, I'm constantly interacting with the public, and it's sales. So, some people may, have the excuse that they don't have the money. And I'm just using this example with what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And, if you constantly hear that daily, for me, I learned it firsthand because despite what I was doing after work, if people are constantly telling me that, whether it's true or not, whether it's an objection or not, if people are constantly telling me that, it's going to my mind. And then I started to realize, like, man, my money is like going up and down. Like, why is that? So now what I do, you can't hear that. Come on, this AirPod in. No matter what I'm doing, every day, all day, I got affirmations just playing day in and day out because I know I have to cultivate. That other brother said it. It's a James Allen quote, but I'm cultivating the right seeds. So that's solely what I'm focused on, bro. And I just put that in your chat to let you know that because it's 1,000% correct, bro.
Man, you on point, right?
Yeah,
what you're saying, and it comes back to what we said a few days ago. It comes back to diet. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people think diet is just what we eat, but it's what we hear. It's who we're communicating with. It's the things we listen to all day. We have to. And this is the thing. I'm not sitting here and saying let's not watch certain movies. Let's not listen to certain music because I will be hypocrite because I'm listening to trap music when I'm in the gym, when I'm walking around the block. But it's to the point now. Understand what it is, and instead inside of my soul, I can look at that as strictly as entertainment, like watching a movie, right? So it's all about. But this is the thing: at some point in time, we have to, like you're doing, we have to start putting certain podcasts in our ears. We have to start listening to different vibration of music, different hertz of music, because that's what's feeding our subconscious. And what we feed our subconscious is what we're going, is what is the result we're getting. That's the result we're getting in life.
Facts, bro. Not to cut you off, but how close do you think that affects us? Because I do the same thing. For the last week, I've been listening to, that Future and Lil Uzi Vert joint album. I feel like it's a classic, and other people may not, think it. But of course, it's not, the most positive, quote unquote. But can we detach ourselves from the quote unquote negative things they're saying and still get positive seeds? Or like, can we watch a movie like Boys in the Hood and still not get that type of the negative result? Or is it impossible? If we in that environment, we're gonna get the negative outcome.
Well, I'll say this, man. Like, I listen to certain musics, and if I listen, like, when I'm listening to music, I'm listening to lyrics, right? But sometimes some music I listen to, I'm just strictly listening to the vibe. I'm listening to some of the, I'm listening to Future. I'm listening to this one song I like, man, with Lil Durk and the brother got killed, King Von.
Yeah,
those hard, hard, man. I'm just lit. But when I listen to it, I'm like, man, when I'm in the car with my son, I don't listen to it because I understand what the words are. But again, it's vibration. There's some music that I can listen to, man, that's horrible on the ears as far as lyrics, but the vibe is out. But even that music gives me what I feel like a good vibe. In my mind, I know that if I keep listening to it, I know I'm going to vibe low because I know the power of words. I can't listen to somebody talking about, doing certain violent acts all day and expect my life to be something else. But like for your example, if I watch a Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood, even me being aware that it's entertainment, it still alters my vibration for a minute. Now I can recalibrate quickly because it's just me in a 2-hour setting. But if I'm watching a 6-season series of Boys in the Hood, but that's for me personally, that's gonna have an effect on me, man.
Right.
That's gonna have an effect on me, brother.
I want to ask you specifically about that, not to get too much off subject, but you and I, we had live sessions, we had one-on-ones.
Yep.
We talked a lot about sleep in the last 15, 20 minutes and how those are like very essential compared to the, remaining 23 and a half hours. So if you do watch Boys in the Hood, is probably what, an hour and 30, 2 hours. If you watch that for 2 hours and the rest of your day is just positive, uplifting, are you going to get a mixture of those results? Like, can you tell based on your results later that,
No, in my opinion, that's no different than if you look at a week's time and one day you eat chicken for breakfast, steak for dinner, and lobster for lunch, but the other 6 days you're eating salad and fruit. Come that last day of the week, you're gonna say, where am I at overall? You know what I'm saying? Is that one small percent gonna have that much effect on me? So I would say no, man. I would say no. I think in my opinion, the last few hours before a person goes to sleep, those are the most critical moments of a man's life. Most critical because you're going strictly. You're getting ready to go strictly up. When you go into sleep mode, no different than meditation. You're going strictly subconscious mode. So whatever you feeding that thing, that's what you're finna create, man. That's another cheat code, man.
Facts, man. That's all I listen to you for, bro. It's cheat codes. I don't even consider it cheat codes. It's just game, bro.
It's life. It's law.
Man. Everything you're doing, bro.
Appreciate it, brother, man.
Appreciate you too, dog.
All right, take care, brother.
Peace.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother. I read this one. It's much love, brother. Been listening to listening to videos, Power of Being, Act as If, Change How I Move, and React Completely. I'm focused on my energies and my world. Me and brother Donald, we talk on a regular basis, man. That is my partner. But yeah, for some reason, we just don't understand that. And like the thing is, I call it cheat code. I call these things cheat codes, but they're not cheat codes. Like when I'm talking about what you create is what you put out, it's law. It's law. And one of my favorite books, Outwitting the Devil, talks about this. Right here. It says it will be hard when it's talking about this what you put out is what you get back. It will be hard to describe the law so that you will understand. It is the same law through which people can be hypnotized. Now, if you haven't read Outwitting the Devil, there's a part in there where it talks about hypnotic rhythm, right? And when you break it down, what it's saying hypnotic rhythm is, it's saying, when you do a thing over, and you do it over and over, and you do it over and over, He says, after a while, it'll get hard to come out of it, but it's still possible. He said, but if you keep going and keep going, at some point, you're going to get to a point where you can't come out of that thing. You know what I'm saying? And when I broke it down, man, I read that over and over, man, and I read some other texts, and then I matched it up with the Bible. When you look at it, the law of hypnotic rhythm is simply prayer. It's simply the art of being. Like I talk about prayer all the time. I say prayer is not when a man or a woman goes to church and gets in front of the pews. Church is not when a man goes to Jumu'ah and prostrates. You know what I'm saying? Prayer is not eating crackers at mass and the priest putting water. That's not what prayer is. Prayer is the state of becoming. Because if it wasn't, how can you go into a state and never come out of it? Prayer is when you get your goals, you get your new energy identified, you step into that thing and you never come out. So the reason people are getting certain results, when they're getting negative results, technically they're praying for these results. You know what I'm saying? If I'm acting a certain way, if I'm speaking a certain lingo, if I'm singing certain songs, if I'm moving a certain way every single day, I am praying for that. I have become that. So why am I surprised when I get a result that lines up with that? How can I speak death and expect life? You know what I'm saying? But the Merrick Wood says, without question, reality creation is real. The knowledge from soul is a game changer across the board. Appreciate that, brother. Wayne says, facts. Earl Nightingale was saying the same thing. Man, I've listened to that recording of Earl Nightingale in black and white, man, probably 70 plus times, man. It's golden. But Chris Abrams says, soul, keep up the good work, my brother. I'm giving you that age, brother. Appreciate that $9.99 super chat. And you can bet, and you can't be an eagle if you're hanging around with turkeys. Man, you know what? The thing is this. You're right, brother. It is impossible. It is impossible because like minds gather around like minds. You can't move a certain way. I can't be sitting amongst the crackheads and heroin addicts if I plan on moving a certain way and achieving a certain thing. And yeah, those are extreme, but I can't be hanging around the people that say, you know what, I wanna live this low level life. I just want to live the normal life, and I want to just be normal. Just died 65 and call. I can't live around those people if I plan on doing great things, man. So, brother's right. You can't be an eagle and hang around turkeys. Make Wood, appreciate the super chat. It's changed my life. Eat, sleep, read, meditate, wash, rinse, repeat. Again, the brother's on point. It's all about your diet. The thing is this: when you're talking about success, when you're talking about receiving blessings, when you want to talk about anything in that realm, you have to understand that all that stuff has to be on purpose. It's on purpose. You don't get a certain type of life by accident. It's on purpose. Brother says, eat, sleep, read, meditate. That's his formula. That's the formula. Is law, man. Is law. It says peace. Peaceful Pulley says, blessing soul. Listen to you for a couple of years. Glad to watch. Again, appreciate it, brother. Again, somebody's got to give me answers because I'm wondering why people consistently put negative things out or put anything out. Let's not even call it good and bad. Just put anything out and expect something different in return. I mean, let's go to relationships for a second. If I'm a brother and let's go to y'all sisters, because I see it more in the sisters, right? I get on the ground, right? I get on the ground and I'll see a sister post a quote and it'll be like, yeah, it'll be a picture of a island or a wedding getaway or a wedding reception. And sister be like, goals, me and future hubby, this is gonna be us, right? And I'm like, cool, man, sister looking for her a real one. But then I can get on the gram a couple of days later and I'll see this same sister talking some madness, talking about, some vulgar language, showing, ass cheeks, talking reckless. In other words, just behaving herself unbecoming of a wife. And in my mind, I'm saying, like, how is this sister saying, future hubby in relationship goals, but then she's turning around and she's acting the opposite? You know what I'm saying? Brothers do the same thing. But I know some brothers that are talking about, I'm looking for a wifey, man. I'm looking for a solid chick. I can't find no good women. But you're not hanging around the places where good women hang out. You're not putting the type energy out that good women gravitate to. You're not displaying yourself to be a good man. The thing is this, man. It's a law. It's just another cheat code. It's another cheat code. It's almost like you remember being in school in the back of the days, man. And you got the smart brother in class, and he's just, everybody's looking off his test, and somehow somebody gets the answers and just passing the answers around, right? We scantroning it up. What most people are doing, they're getting a scantron, they're seeing the answers, right? They're saying, if I want to make 100%, I can produce any grade I want on this test. They're looking at that and say, you know what? I'll pass. I'll just wing it. I'll just do what I want to do and expect a different record. We're getting cheat codes, man. Outwitting the devil, U squared, cheat code. You guys that are on Patreon, we'll be going over U squared tonight. We're having a Zoom call tonight and chopping it up, and we'll be exchanging knowledge on that. But guys, at some point, we got to understand that what we're doing is wrong. You got some people talking about, you know what? I want to start a business. I want to start a YouTube channel. I want to start a salon. I want to start an Amazon shipping business. I want to start investing my money in stocks. I want to do all these great things. But then you say, well, what seeds are you planting? Because brother, every Friday night you going out drinking. Every Saturday morning, you talking to me about going to the strip club. Every Sunday evening, you on the court playing ball. And Monday through Friday, you at work. So when you're talking about you trying to do all these great things, it's like, but what seeds are you planting? In other words, how are we planting certain seeds and wanting certain things back in return? We're doing this on a daily basis. We're doing it on a daily basis. And it's almost like if a person would just reverse engineer life. If a person would just reverse engineer life, he or she would have it figured out. If you go to the end goal, and I talk to brothers, I talk about this all the time. When you're talking about achieving these goals, right? When you're talking about doing certain things, when you're talking about living in certain energies, you have to go to the end result. You have to go to the end result. In other words, if you're trying to start that Amazon business, if you're trying to start that YouTube channel, that salon, that clothing line, if you're trying to start that stuff, you have to ask yourself, what would that person be doing right now? If I was already that thing, what would I be doing now? Going back to Sister Jessica Bouvet, I think it's easy to say that the sister had dreams and goals of becoming a podcaster, being, growing that business and seeing herself doing great things in the area of podcasting. But why does she look at people that had already done it? Why does she look at the Dee McGuires of the world and say, well, what are the Dee McGuires of the world doing? Are they moving like that? Or are they getting online saying F12? You know what I'm saying? Brother wants to say, brother say, well, I want to start investing. I want to start doing all this stuff. But he goes to the club every night throwing hundreds on Patron. He's at the Gentleman Club Saturday night throwing hundreds, if not thousands, at booty cheeks. Why isn't he watching videos of Trap Wall Street Trapper? You know what I'm saying? Why isn't he watching videos of successful investors? Again, man, people have no idea that they're planting a seed in one area, but expecting something completely different. I can't make sense of it. Bro, I was having a good day. Took a trip to the hub, and it killed the trajectory of my whole day. The thing is this, I'm glad you put that, brother. People have not put, we were talking about the hub the other day, man. Me and a group of brothers on a group. People who have no idea how much energy is being poured into that, man. In anything. It's being poured into anything. You gotta look at it like this. When you look at your goals, say if you got your top 3 goals, you're trying to achieve these things. I'm trying to get my money right. I'm trying to do whatever these goals are, right? Once you start adding things like, that aren't pertaining to this goal, like the hub and everything else, you have to understand that these are draining energy from these 3. I remember I used to work at a day. My first job, I worked for Martin Gas, and they owned the daycare center. My job was to keep the floors clean, mop, sweep the bathrooms, and tend to the flower garden. That was my main thing, right? And what I couldn't understand, the lady that owned the shop, she would be telling me how to do the flowers, and the flowers would be looking good. I'm like, why is she messing with them? And I see these bushes, man, and she'd be like, yeah, I want you to come out and cut this one off and cut this one off. And I'm like, why is she doing that? Next thing I know, man, come in the summer, man, those bushes were just tall, right? What she understood was what we're talking about now. What that lady understood was that, if I'm killing these undesirable, the ones that ain't looking right, the ones that's taking energy from these, if I cut these off, then I'm going to start seeing some growth in my life, right? And when brothers talk about the hub and all kinds of things, it's simply taken away from you. So yeah, when your day falls off, brother, that's natural. You're draining that energy. Brother said it changed the trajectory of the whole day. It'll happen, man. Love over lust. Don't let temptations throw you out of your flow, church. Tamir Jones says, I always had trouble separating myself from people who didn't think like me because of the attachment bond I built with them. I cut ties and been focused. Peace ever since. Salute, soul. Man, you know what? I say that all the time. That's one of the hardest things to do. That has to be one of the hardest things to do is cut people off, burn those bridges, burn those boats. Because you got to understand, like you say, you created a bond with people. You've created a whole life with people. The hardest thing to do, especially if you're staying in the same environment, it's a lot easier if you just jump ship and you leave and go somewhere else. But if you're staying in that same environment, brother, it's hard to cut people off. And then it's hard to grow after that because you're technically still in that environment. It just makes it 10 times harder. But you can't continue doing the same things, being around the same people, and getting a different result, man. So thanks for the food. So let me know when you come back down to the Keys. We can meet in Miami. Sister April. Yeah, what's this? March. It'll probably be a few months. I try to go down there and do some deep sea fishing once a year. And to be honest, I'm thinking about moving. Not down to the Keys, but man, I'm thinking about moving to the Tampa area here in the next couple of years or so. Somewhere on some water. But yeah, sister. Super sticker, Bruce Sanders. I appreciate the super sticker, brother. Brandon says, without hard work and manifestations, dreams are worthless. You know what? I'm glad you said that, brother. Without hard work and manifestation, dreams are worthless. This is my thing. We always hear it being said, and it's biblical. It says faith without works is dead, right? So if faith without works is dead, then what does that mean work is? What does that mean that work is? Work is the elixir, man. What work is the secret sauce. And see, this is the thing. This is what I don't like people getting caught up. Because sometimes I have one-on-one with people and we'll get to chopping it up. And after about 30 or 40 minutes, I can understand what's going on. I say, you know what, brother? Like, you're on point. You know the laws. You know this stuff. But you can't leave it all in the fifth dimension. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't leave it all in the spiritual. Like you have to put that elbow grease in. You can sit there and think thoughts and meditate and damn near levitate if you want to. If you're not putting that elbow work in, but you can't expect to see results. So I'm glad you said that, brother. Without hard work and manifestation, dreams are pointless. But because you can have all the mental right, and people do. But for some reason, they just forget that you got to put that elbow grease in. In other words, yeah, you can think about having that business. You can think about starting that YouTube channel. Hell, I thought about starting a YouTube channel a year before I did it. And that's what I was doing. Faith, no works. I could sit there and imagine and feel everything. But until I move in a thing, man, I can't expect nothing back. I can't expect nothing back. But what I learned is once you start moving in the thing, brother, the universe speaks to you. It starts to give you those downloads. My brother says, man, this is hard work. And I says, man, that is hard to cut folk off. Family for sure. This is the thing. I had a conversation with a brother night before last, and he was just talking about how his family was draining him. But it wasn't that his family was draining him. What was draining him was him trying to convince his family to move a certain way. And I said, man, you know what? I can relate to that. And I thought that was the way until I heard something brother Bobby Hemmett say some years ago on one of his videos. And he was like, that's not your job. He said every family is going to have a black sheep in it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to have that one thinker in their family that goes a different route. He says your job is just to go that different route. And if your family wants to jump on board, they can jump on board. I'm telling you, man, lots of people say, waste lots of years trying to get their family to move like them and all that stuff. Jay says application is required. Again, let me drop this link. Anybody wants to jump on chat? So Justin Henry says manifestation through meditation and action. Last year, this time I was in a completely different position. And I just said that. I don't know if you caught the beginning of the live, brother, but I just said, we're in a new world. Like the time we're in right now, like 2019, 2018, and before that, those days are long gone. They're long gone. There was something about 2020 that was a reset. At the same time, the Aries sticker. And when I say the Aries sticker, I'm really referring to Wallace Wattles in the book as The Science of Getting Rich. When he talks about that thinking stuff, he's like, there's this thinking stuff all around us. And that's the stuff we can use to manifest. That thinking stuff is heavy right now. If you notice in 2020, man, people's lives were just changing. People were quitting jobs. People were blowing up on social media. People were doing this. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, people were falling off just as quick. It's because that manifestation juice is solid right now, man. I'm telling you, man, I have a lot of friends and colleagues, man, the life just took off in 2020. And it's sticky. Just like the brother said, last year, this time, I was in a completely different position. Telling you, brother, it's crazy. So that's what I'm saying. Like if we know this, if we're aware that this world is doing something different, that our thoughts and our desires are manifesting quicker, then we have to be conscious. We have to be aware of that. Let me be more aware of my thoughts. Let me be more aware of my actions, because what I'm doing, I'm seeing it a lot quicker. And I'm hearing so many people say that, man. Brandon Edith said, most definitely, I already claimed my businesses. I just got to start saving money and putting the work in. You'll remember my name. Trust me, Brother Eagley, putting that work in. Sister April says, I was in a different position. Also dealing with siblings passing from COVID and the shutdown. Sorry to hear that, sister. I started meditating more and still do daily. Meditation, I think a lot of people talk about meditation, and I think a lot of people get different things from meditation. Because sometimes when I talk to some people, it's almost like we're talking about something different. I remember a brother, and I realized this on Patreon when I made a video and I made a comment about meditation, and the brother said, well, what are you talking about? So like, I do this and I do this thing right here. And I said, well, brother, I meditate and I visualize at the same time. I said, because a lot of people are seeking peace and zen during meditation, but my life is peace. There's not a point in time where I don't have peace. So I don't need to go to a certain spot to get something I already have. So I'm just combining the two and I'm creating my world. Hello. What's going on, brother? You muted, bro.
Hey, Mr. Soul, how are you?
Life is good, brother. How's everything going?
Good, good, good. I've been following you for a while, and this is a wonderful conversation. It's just
Oh, thanks a lot,
the
brother.
one thing I wanted to ask is just, how to stay in the mood and the vibration throughout the day, especially when you're going through life stresses and work. But it's wonderful stuff that you're doing. I got the recipe, and it's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant stuff.
Thanks a lot, brother. So if your question is how do you stay in the mood, the thing you first have to realize is, well, what things take me out of the mood? In other words, if I'm in a certain vibration on a daily basis, my life is peace, everything is good. I have to identify the things that take me out. For me, example, I know, for example, if I eat certain foods, I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be in a different energy. If I live in the six, it's going to take me out of my energy. So the only way you can stay in it goes back to the diet. The only way you can stay in a certain mood, vibration, frequency is to first identify the things that take you out of it. And for a lot of brothers, for example, this is what a lot of brothers have to be aware of: is women. A lot of men can be in a certain vibration. You have to understand, man, that even if we're in our masculine frame and even if we're doing everything right, we have to understand that the woman we getting with, even though we're in charge, even though we're quarterbacking, is going to have a significant amount of influence on your vibration. Significant amount, man, because regardless of how you look at it, you're still, two people are still bonding energies, man. So that's one thing, man. So whatever you listen to, whatever you watching, just observe whatever's taking you out of that element, and especially the people you around, the women you entertain, and just be aware of that. Be aware of what's taking you out and eliminate it. You know what I mean?
No, thanks so much. That's brilliant. Thank you. So,
It's like, where you calling from, brother?
South Africa, eh?
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
I should be back over there, man, in a handful of months, man. I'll be doing some hiking on
No, you
Table
must.
Mountain again, brother. That's God's
Yeah,
country
you
over there, man.
you must come to Johannesburg. See the other side, the Golden City.
Nice. I might hit Johannesburg then, brother. Well, I
Okay,
appreciate you
cool.
calling, man.
Thanks, so. Thanks. Have a
Thanks a
wonderful
lot,
chat.
brother. Brandon said, your woman reflects your personality and decision making. Man, you have no idea. And on Sunday, I'm going to go live and talk about that. We're going to get heavy into that. Let me see what brother Kyrie is talking about. Brother Kyrie, what's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Man, life is good. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I just wanted to thank you so much for like the recipe and something. The recipe, I got it like a few months back, and I've really seen like how it started to like change my life. Like people that were like kind of holding me back and things in my life that were holding me back started to fall to the side. And like especially when you were talking about how like the music you listen to affects you, and like how you entertain the things that you do. They affect you. Like when I started cutting off like the music I was listening to, transitioning from like a more violent style of music to like more classical and jazz, I started realizing like my mind was operating better, and now I'm at a place in my life where I'm starting to see like the things that I was dreaming about years ago, they starting to just like come to me, what I'm saying, by themselves, it
Yeah.
seems like. But it's the manifestation and the putting in work. And I just wanted to thank you because I'm only 21, and now like I don't have as many friends as I did, but now I'm moving, what I'm saying, further in life. And I just want to thank you for that, because I never really had, knew anybody that could, show me that type of game.
Man, I sure appreciate it, brother. I sure appreciate it, man. And appreciate you
Thank you.
calling, brother. Thank you for that,
Thank you,
man.
man.
You know what? This is the thing, though. I'm glad you said that. People have no idea how much their vibration has to do with their ability to manifest. And the thing is, I found this I remember, and I've told this story before. I don't know what year this was, 2012. I was living in Shreveport, Louisiana. And man, for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
my life was just going, it was just crappy. It just flatlined. And I was just bored with life. And I was like, there has to be more to life than this. And for some reason, I guess it was just the universe guiding me down the right road. For some reason, for a 2-week period, maybe a week or 2-week period, I fasted from all meats, right? All I
Yeah.
did was ate greens and tomatoes for all week. The same week, I fasted from all rap music. Now, at the same time I was doing this, I had no idea what I was doing. That same week, all I did was meditate. I would get up in the morning, I would meditate, I would get in the shower, go to work. On my break, I'll go get in my truck, meditate. I will come home, eat my greens, and meditate for about 4 hours straight session and go to bed. And I did that for a week. Man, I'm gonna tell you this. The next 3 months of my life, so many things came into my life, brother. It almost like it didn't seem like it was real.
Yeah.
And now when I look back at it, I say, you know what? It's my ability to manifest a certain thing changed. It was just my vibration changed. I had more harmony. You know, I had less
Hmm.
things pulling from me, man. I was more connected with the source. So a lot of times, man, a lot of these things that we allow in our lives, like the hub and friends and certain women and certain whatever, you know, it's not to put them in a group of good or bad, but they're keeping us from that source.
Yeah.
They're keeping us from that Zen state, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, brother, man, I appreciate you coming in and giving the kind words, brother. And I'm glad you like the recipe, man. And brother, I appreciate your support.
Yeah.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much,
your
man.
support, man. And shoot, anytime you want to call in, just chop, man, and give a few words, give your story, whatever you want to do, man. But thank you for calling in, brother.
All right, for sure. Thank you.
All right, take care, bro. Vibration is everything. It's not even about just vibration. It's almost like having a ground or not. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like having a ground. You have to understand that your connection with the source, however pure that stream is, it's kind of like bandwidth. It's kind of like we're on the internet right now. Right now, it looks like I got a pretty good bandwidth. But if my internet starts to tripping, then yeah, this picture gonna get a little fuzzy. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is when you're talking about your creation to, your connection to the source, or God, or the Most High, whatever you want to call that thing. You have to make sure you have clear bandwidth. And when we're talking about the hub, when we're talking about bad, friends and family or whatever, all it's doing is killing your bandwidth. It's not that you have less ability to manifest. The thing is, manifesting is not even optional. If you're breathing, if you're thinking, then you're getting the return on investment of those thoughts. But when you're not getting what you want, it's because your bandwidth may be jacked up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, appreciate that call, brother. What I got lost somewhere. But yeah, going back to just thoughts, just our thoughts. We have to understand that what we're putting out is what we're getting back. Striving to be great, set apart. Appreciate that super chat, brother. Great content and instructions, man. I appreciate it. And I saw somewhere earlier, someone said, hey, I'm gonna give on the next podcast, but I appreciate that. But I don't need to do these podcasts for that. I appreciate all the super chats. But if you give me a like, if you just give me a comment, give somebody a solid comment in the comment section that's gonna say, you know what, this is where I was, and this is why I'm now, and this is something that helped me or whatever. If you help the next brother, that's just as powerful to me, man. We have to understand, brother, we're all one. We're all one, man. And the whole reason I'm even doing YouTube videos, the whole reason I'm doing what I'm doing, the whole reason I make, post certain things on Instagram, when I do it, it's not for no gain, because this is my thing. This is my thing, man. Life is for whether it's financial, whether it's health. I know certain life hacks. I'm going to get that regardless. Just by me giving, just being a solid person, I know I'm going to get a certain ROI. You know what I'm saying? So how it comes to me, it doesn't concern me. My thing is, this second half of my life, my thing is, I want to make this place a better place, man. I want my brothers, I want the brothers that are in their 20s, that are in their, almost 30. I'm trying to bridge this gap, man. There's so much knowledge out here. There's so much knowledge. And brother, I haven't even scratched the surface. Nobody's really scratched the surface of it, man. But all I'm trying to do is relay this stuff to you younger guys, or to my brothers that are, same age as me, just so we can all get ahead, man. That's the name of the game. That's the only way we're going to win. It's the only way we're going to win, man. Bridging this gap. Again, let me put this, I'm going to put this link up. Anybody want to chime in and talk about this law, talk about why we're putting stuff out, expecting something else back? You know what I'm saying? But Brandon says, in 2020, I lost so many people. I thought I was going to be next, and I'm only 22. Death became natural to me. It wasn't even surprising. Man, I mean, you know what? I remember there was a point in time, and I was in my teens, and it's weird. I remember when I was around 16, 17, 18, I was sure, there was no doubt in my mind that around 21, 23, I was probably going to be dead. I don't know why I thought this. I was in good health, but I was sure that I was going to be dead. Now, hindsight, looking back, it all makes sense. It all makes sense because the things I was doing, the places I was going, the things I was putting in my body, it made sense. It made sense that if I would have gotten that result. And if I wouldn't have changed direction, I probably, not even probably, I would have, I was putting out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, brother said, yeah, he was thinking about death. You know, you got to be aware of that, brother. 2020 proves that vibrating and manifesting works. Amen. The thing is, you know, and that's what a lot of people say, man. Like I remember listening to one of my favorite content creators. And how would you go blank? God dang it. Alex Becker. Alex Becker was talking about, I was watching one video of Alex Becker, and he was talking about, you know, I can't stand, you know, manifestation, mumbo jumbo, and the law of attraction and da. He went in for 30 minutes. And then the brother turned around, and the next 30 minutes of his video, he said, "These are my daily regiments. I get up. My schedule is this. You know, I sit and I meditate on this for this much time. And I set my goals, and I line up a line of my goals, and I move into act." And I was like, brother, I said, you have no idea. You just put on a whole manifestation seminar, the second part of your video. So my thing is this: people are manifesting whether they want to or not. And when you see people winning in life, even if they're saying, you know what, man, I don't believe in a higher being, I don't believe in none of this stuff, you have to understand that the law is the law. That's why it's called the law, because it doesn't matter whether you believe in it, whether you know about it, whether you never heard of it. That's why it's called the law. It's like somebody having a lock, right? And it's 100 people out there, right? And they throw 50 keys out there and 50 bad keys. The people who get the good keys are going to have the ability to lock that lock. Whether it doesn't matter if they're black, it doesn't matter if they're white, it doesn't matter if they're tall, short, African, from Asia, it doesn't matter. If you have the key to that lock, then you can open that lock. That's how the law works. It doesn't matter who you are. If you are doing a certain thing, if you have the key to the lock of life, brother, you can navigate through this thing without fear. Without fear. I'm telling you, man, I obsess about these things. It drives me because forever I've always just want. My thing is this: I've always said, even when I was younger, and I would see my parents, you know, my dad, he getting up going to work, and my mom's getting up going to work, and we got a dog, and my sister, and we just living life, and we're going to church on Sundays, and I'm like, surely this can't be like it. Like surely this can't be the end goal of why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, I love my childhood, man. My mother, my parents, man, I had the best parents. My sister, I love my sister. We had a nice house. Everything was good. But for years, I said, man, if this is it, like if this is my goal to get up and wake up and do job in Texas and all that, I'm like, man, the creator should have just left me where I was, because this sucks. This sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't amuse. Man, there was nothing interesting. Once I got about 22, 23, and I started reading certain books, and I was like, oh, like there's a cheat code to life. Like now life is fun. It's like now I'm living. You know what I'm saying? And now I look at people that aren't aware of these laws, and I say, man, your life must suck. Not your life must suck because you have certain things or you don't have certain things. I would say your life must suck because you're playing the game and you don't even know the rules. You know what I'm saying? Picture 4 people sitting down to play Monopoly, and all they're doing is picking dice up, rolling dice, and moving dogs and cars around, tossing money left and right, just moving properties, not knowing what's going on. How fun is that? How fun is it to play a game without knowing the rules, man? So when I see people, you know, living certain life, you know, and they're, again, regardless of what they have and what they don't have, if they're miserable in life, I'm like, man, you just don't know the laws, man. I agree. This life sucked when I didn't know how it worked. It sucked. But once I start saying, you know what, learn about hypnotic rhythm. Once I start learning about, what I put out is what I get back. It's like, oh, it's like now the game is fun. It's like now I'm quarterbacking this thing. It's like now I'm in complete control of what I get back. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at the world, you have to understand. When you look at the world, you have to say, you know what? I see a mass amount of people getting treated a certain amount of way. I see a mass amount of people putting a certain energy out. At some point in time, if you know the law, at some point in time, if you know how this world works, you got to add 2 and 2. You have to add 2 and 2. And Sister Jessica Bouvet is just exhibit A, but she represents the Lord, the masses, man. Think about this. Do you think, I'm not going to go down that route. It's too political. It's too political. But we have to understand that what we're putting out is what we're getting back. There's no way around it. It's not optional. My grandmother never planted watermelon seeds and got peas back. As above, so below. The things that we see in the spirit world are happening in the physical. It's a cheat code, man. It's a cheat code. And if you don't know, learn nothing else, man, learn it. Life is about hacking this thing. Life is about hacking this thing. Brother Johnson said everything we wanted is on the other side of fear. Man, that's heavy, man. That's heavy. Because, and really when you think about fear, what is it fear of when you think about it? Most time, man, when we think about fear holding us back, it's not even the fear of taking an L. Most people in private have no problem with taking an L and learning from it and coming back and get back on it. But what we do, we get caught up on what everybody else is going to think. You know what I'm saying? We say, oh, man, well, if I take this L, man, Joe Blow and Sister Nancy, they're going to be clowning me and I'm going to be, we fear more than anything what other people think, man. If we just get out of that, man, and start, but it goes back to us not knowing who we are. It goes back to us not knowing who we are. If you had to take a test and you had the cheat code, would you be scared to take it? You wouldn't be. So it just goes back to us not knowing what we're capable of. It's not knowing who we are. It's not knowing the source from which we come. You know what I'm saying? So fear is simply not knowing yourself. Even fear of death. Even fear of death is not knowing yourself. If you know that you are energy, which means you were always created, you can never be destroyed. If you know this, then death doesn't exist. For you to fear death means you're still trapped in the third wheel. Like you really don't know who you are. You really don't know. I embrace it, brother. Because when I know when I leave this place, I'm going back to my full self. I'm going back to my whole self. I'm going back to the place from which I came. You know what I'm saying? April says, I focus on what I want and not what I don't want. That's powerful. And thing is, a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are focusing on what they don't want. And I've been there, man. And it comes back to what the brother said about fear. A lot of people will think about the things they fear most. They'll think about failure more than success. They'll think about failure more than success. How can you plan on opening a business? How can you plan on doing anything if all you're thinking about is what'll happen if you don't lose? People need to move through this world as if there is no loss, as if they can't lose. People need to move like God is behind. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I used to work at a furniture store back in the days, Manly Furniture, Longview, Texas. And I worked with these two brothers, big brothers. Both of them name was Marcus. One of them name was Marcus Means, and the other name, brother, I can't think of his last name. But anyway, our manager hired his nephew to be assistant manager, and he was just scared of these brothers, right? And one day this brother was coming to give us some direction. And brother, I saw this young buck trembling in his boots. And his uncle came out of the office and just looked at him. And all of a sudden, he just straightened up. He was a whole nother person. He came over there chewing ass. And I always thought about that, man. I said, that's how we need to move through this world. We need to move like our creator is right behind us. We need to move like our creator is within us. when we go on these job interviews, when we go to all these things, when we try to we go to the bank to get a loan, we need to move like the creator is in us, man. I'm telling you, once I started doing it, man, life changed. You heard me talk about it on my last video when I started a trucking business with a 500 credit score. Walked in the Volvo dealership, man, and picked one off the lot. Volvo, trailer. Business started 30 days later. 500 credit score, whatever it was, brother. But yeah, you're right, sister. Rasta Daba says, what I've noticed, Soul, is you align your message with your reality, and most of us relate to it. You know, all I do, I appreciate that, brother. That means a lot to me, brother. I appreciate that. All I do is tell my experiences. That's all I can do, you know, because when I talk to people, I'm like, man, like you went through exactly what I went through. I can't sit. Matter of fact, if there's something that I don't know about and I haven't experienced, you won't hear me talking about it. I talk about divorce. I've been there. I know what divorce is like. At the same time, I can also talk to you about what a loving marriage is like, man, because there were times when my marriage was on point. But certain things that I haven't experienced, I don't talk about it. So I'm only relaying messages that I've gone through, man, because you got to be careful getting online and people, you know, I don't know. Appreciate that, brother. Brandon says, I'm very focused and I'm not rushing anything, but I'm working towards my goals while I'm young. Never had anybody give me this type of knowledge. I had to teach myself and learn on my own. It's all about bridging the gap. It's all about bridging the gap. But this is what you got to understand. Think about, so I'm 44 years old. Think about what life was like, brother Ely. Think about what life was like 20 years ago. Think about what life was like, or think about what your life would be like if there was no Instagram, if there was no Facebook, if there was no if internet really wasn't really popping like it is now. If there was no YouTube, think about how in the dark you would be on things, man. You know, think how brothers had to move for years, for decades, since the beginning of time, without being able to rub elbows with brothers clean across the country, clean across, you know, the state, man. So that's one thing, man. I'm glad you chiming in, brother, because all we're trying to do is bridge the gap, man. Bridge the gap. So what your role is, you know, as a young man, now you need to reach down to the brothers that you know that are 18, 16, that they aren't on YouTube yet. They're still wilding out, you know, trap music on that. Reach out to them and teach them. It's about bridging that gap, because what you know now at, let's say, for example, you're in your 20s. I don't know your age. Let's say you're 25, 27. What you're learning now at 27, let's let the brothers behind us know at 16. You know what I'm saying? You see how that's going to change the world? See, me and you, we might not see the end result. We won't see the end result. But in a couple of years, brothers like me and you, brothers like other guys on the internet, brothers on social media spreading certain knowledge, it's going to shrink this gap, man. It's going to change the whole world, brother. So that's our ultimate mission. Oh, Brandon, my brother, again, God put me here for a purpose, and I have to live up to it and go out and achieve every goal that I set for myself. I love to see others win as well. So that's how I know I'm going to be successful. Amen. Brother, Dream Music, be at ease, brother. I appreciate that super chat. I really appreciate it, brother. He says, Big Brother Soul, never miss. Thank you for always dropping them gems. You personally changed my life. Patiently waiting for the next film. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, for y'all that you know, I put that recipe out, but I also have the path, which kind of talks about it's step by step on how you go from being in a certain energy to leaving that world, going to a new energy and manifest certain things in your life. And then I got the Beautiful Faces of Evil. Now that's one that I think every man should watch, but because at some point in time, I'm going to cross paths with a Proverbs 5 woman. And man, if you haven't seen a brother's story, if somebody hasn't told you what it's like, man, you can be in a whirlwind of just a downward spiral, brother. So yeah, I appreciate that, brother Dream. That's super chat, brother. Alan Silver says, how do you feel about being in a mastermind group? I'm thinking of starting one with a few choice brothers. I think a mastermind group is powerful. Matter of fact, the first time I heard that was in, I thought I had it beside me, was Science of Getting Rich, you know, was the first time I heard about it. I'm sure it's been around long before that. But you have to understand, like, why it's so powerful. Because when you think about the whole, like the way the whole world, the way the country, the way your state, the way your city, the way your neighborhood thinks is what's creating that environment. So all you're doing in a mastermind, again, is hacking it. You're creating your own environment with a group of brothers and sisters. So I think masterminds are powerful, brother. Powerful, man. Single Water says, it hurts so much to hear what you already know, man. I'm so depressed I can't get a job. Other says, it hurts so much to hear what you already know, man. I'm so depressed I can't get a job, man. Let's talk about that, man. So just the fact that you're saying I can't get a job, brother. Think about that. Think about what we talked about up front. I said, how can a person expect to get a return on something they haven't planted, right? Again, going back to my grandma, man. My grandmother never planted seeds of a watermelon and expected peas back. You know what I'm saying? So think about that. So in order to get a job, you have to first plant the seeds of that. In other words, you have to become that. It goes back to what prayer is. Because see, people think that prayer, and it bothers me. It bothers me when I hear people say, people think that prayer is getting in front of a church and reciting words. People are getting prayer confused with affirmations. Brother, if you want to get a job, you have to conduct yourself as if you already have one. It's as simple as that. I'm going to tell you what I did, man. And this is the jobs I had. This is what I did. My last job, I was a territory manager. I was over Texas and New Mexico, a little bit of Oklahoma. I was a territory manager for Cummins. When I got this job, I had no experience, just like the other jobs I had. I got no experience, but I knew the law. I'm gonna tell you what I would do, brother. Take that down. This is what I would do. On the weekends, I would drive up to the company, right? They're closed, they're down, nobody's in the parking lot. And I'm looking in the windows, right? I'm like, oh, okay, that's the kind of country. Look at the stairs, it's nice. Look at the plants, look at everything here. And I absorbed it. I absorbed the kind of person I would have to be in that environment. No experience, had no sales experience. And this is for a territory sales position. But I took that energy, I took that vibe, and I took it back home. I took it to my room, and I sit to myself, and I lived in that energy, right? I meditated on that energy. And after a couple of days, you meditate on that energy, you start to become a thing, right? So this is what people don't understand. Some people say, man, well, I was meditating on the thing, and I just started forgetting. No, you didn't forget. You just started becoming that thing. Because for me to sit in my room to be unemployed, and I'm thinking of thoughts of being working at a certain job, after doing that so many days, I'm going to become that. So there's no reason for me to meditate on something that I already am. You know what I'm saying? It goes back to what Churchill says, man. You have to feel a thing. He said, people think people think they'll feel a thing once they get it. He said, you have to feel it first, and the thing comes to you, man. So for you saying you don't have a job, but all you have to do is conduct yourself and get in the frequency of a man that has one. But you have to know what you want to do. Where do you want to work? What kind of environment you want to do this, man? And you got to step outside the box. You got to look crazy. I'm sure the people that drove down in a 20 was looking at me like, what are windows when this business is closed? I didn't care, because what I knew is this. I said, if I can see what that building looks like, if I can get that vibe, if I can get that frequency, I said, brother, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And I'm telling you, and I said this in, I might have said it on the path. I said it on one of those documentaries. I remember I was riding and I was talking to my boss, man. Cool cat. Jack Wiley was his name. And we were riding, man. And just out of the blue, he said this. He said, you know what? He says, man, when you interviewed, he said, there were a handful of guys that had way more experience than you. He said, there were a handful of guys that had degrees from way better schools than you went to. He said, but for some reason, every single person, and in my mind, this is what I said. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, Jack, the reason they wanted to go with me is because I already worked there. Like before I even sit down to tell you what my name was, I already had a spot here, brother. And that's what your energy has to be, bro. You have to own it. You have to become it. It has to become your prayer. It has to be who you are. So just the fact that you saying, I can't find a job, you got to swap gears. You're planting bad seeds. You plant bad seeds and you want a different return on investment. So yeah, that's going to be a no-brainer, brother. In life, the substance of being, if life is the substance of being, then death must be the substance of something much more than life. You know, I say meditation is the cousin of sleep. Sleep is the sister of death. And death is the highest level of consciousness. Because in death is when we return to the all. In death is when we return to ourselves. We're back one with the source from which we came, man. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about today, brothers. I wanted to talk about, you know, why we as a culture, as a country, as a people, whatever demographic you want to associate it with, why do we think that we can plant certain seeds, but we'll get something else in return? And when I say that, I'm not saying, I'm not pointing a finger at people. I'm saying I'm part of the problem too. If I know that certain things in this world are gonna put me on a different vibration, like why would I still participate in them? You know, going back to Sister Jessica Bouvet. If this sister, it was living a certain life where she's putting certain things out in the airways, she had to expect a certain thing in return. And this last quote was from James Allen too, right? And it says, a person does not end up in the gutter or prison by the tyranny of fate or circumstance, but by the path of low thought and base desires. This is the thing. When you see something like that happening let's go back to Sister Bouvet. Sister Bouvet gets on the internet, on a podcast, wraps everything up and says, F12, gets out, goes and hits a cop. Sister Bouvet, that wasn't her first time speaking that low vibrational stuff. In other words, it goes back to the law of hypnotic rhythm. She's been speaking this stuff for a long time. When you see the rapper coming out of a concert and then somebody just pulls up and pulls a drive-by and wants to shoot them in his whatever, he's been speaking this energy for a long time on the other end of the spectrum. When you see a person blow up, people on social media blow up, you're like, oh man, well, this person just blew up overnight. No, they didn't. They've been putting this work in for a long time. Again, it says a person does not end up in the gutter or prison by the tyranny of fate or circumstance, but by the path, which means it's a journey, the path of low and base desires. That goes both ways. You do bad, you have bad thought, you put out bad negative energy for so long, you have to get negative thoughts. On the other end, if you think positive, think high vibrational things, do good deeds, you have to get that in return. It's a no-brainer. There you go, brother. It says, but the song says, I've been lazy and comfortable and overconfident. I would tell the youth to try to own your own thing early in life because I'm stuck in my mind on being an employee. Facts. Sister April says, I watched your documentary. Appreciate that, sister. Steve says, thinking creates destiny, and not thinking also creates destiny. It's a two-edged sword. It's all law. The thoughts you sow are the acts, objects, and events you receive in life. Karma. Smart man. Amen, brother. Says, I love this channel. Appreciate it, brother. I really appreciate it. A lot of people want to replace effort with prayer. Exactly, man. You can pray and meditate. Again, you can levitate. Higher level of meditation is, but if you aren't putting the legwork in, faith without works is dead. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a stage when I went through that, man. I thought that prayers and just my thoughts alone would do a certain thing. It'll never happen. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it out, brothers. I appreciate all the likes. Make sure you give it a like. It helps the algorithm. I appreciate all the super chats. And brothers, it's your boy Soul Immortal. And I'm out.